welcome to EyeOpener, powered by Siemens. And now, please welcome your host, Gugan Sangha.
I just have one question that I'm just really interested to know from your perspective, Niall. Is there any particular media or format that you prefer in terms of portraying Senseye's messaging across?
I think what I personally like, I think, because, and again, this is my own personal experience, it's sort of where it came from, I guess, in a lot of ways, because I'm on LinkedIn a lot. I'm scrolling through my feed, and there's lots of great content here. There's text-based content, and there's also video-based content. And so that's where our social media strategy's gone down that line. So what we're not doing is, and what I don't like doing as a personal, when I'm scrolling on LinkedIn, is to have to click away to read a blog. I just don't do that anymore, because I want the information and everything right here in the feed. And actually LinkedIn prefers that as well. So it's going to show up your content a lot more if you're not trying to take people away from LinkedIn, which makes sense. So I know that's a roundabout way of saying it, but it's the content on LinkedIn. It's sort of a joint thing, really. I'm picking one, but LinkedIn's the key, but with not trying to take you away from the website. And because you go to a blog and then they have all these pop-ups, and it can. I'm not saying the Senseye website's not like that, but it can. A lot of websites can have a negative experience, whereas you can create lovely video, nicely edited content which tells a point in 2 minutes. So not having to 5-10 minutes, even 5-10 minutes in the digital age, I think it's a lot to ask of people, or just to read a few paragraphs in the feed. And I think that for me is very chunkable. Chunkable, don't know if that's a word. That's not a word, but yeah, it's in chunk size, and I can take that information in. But I think that's the way of the world, and that's where I guess our strategy is moving towards in an age of TikTok and YouTube Shorts. It's getting even shorter, so bite-sized content, video content, is a roundabout way of answering your question. After a lot of rambling in between. Sorry about that.
No, it does. It makes sense, because I think from a Senseye perspective, we do a lot of video-based content, and that's across the podcast. Even now we're doing a podcast to get the messaging across.
Hi folks.
But what I really like about that is the content can be cut, like you said, into mini clips. So Niall, from your perspective, what would you say are the biggest challenges that we face when it comes to marketing in this predictive maintenance space?
I think for us, it's to really differentiate, because I guess we're biased in the sense that Senseye is an outstanding product. And I think there's a lot of competitors out there. There's a lot of imitators. There's a lot of similar products who say they're sort of AI predictive maintenance. So I think the challenge is that through all that noise of we're doing this and we're doing that, we're AI and we're doing this. That's the challenge, is putting your head above that to sort of say, this is what we're doing, and this is why Senseye is above all else. But again, it comes back to that different way of doing marketing, which I said right back at the start of this interview, which I can't speak for all competitors out there and what they're doing, but I can imagine 99% of them will be following the traditional model of lead generation, capturing leads and passing high volumes of them to sales, whether they want to buy or not, which isn't, as I've explained, is not necessarily the best way to do things. And linked to that as well is actually the trying to differentiate when you've only got 3 team members. All that stuff we talked about, creating content and stuff. I think we've done, and you're a key part of it as well, but remarkably well to create the amount of content, distribute it consistently as well. So it's not just a one-off. The easiest thing is to do one podcast and not do another one. So it's really standing out from competitors, and then having a team that both takes on board what I'm saying, because it's sort of a different concept to what traditional marketing is, and then really pushing our message out there, I guess.
Yeah. And I think the other thing as well, what plays a huge part of that is having structure. And I think within Senseye we have a structure in terms of our content plan and what's going out. So, that kind of takes me to the different platforms that we use. You know, we use LinkedIn, we've got paid channels that we use for Google Ads, and we've got the website, which, you know, focuses on a lot of our content. So like you mentioned about the white papers and the blogs, people still maybe would prefer to read a blog. But I feel the way technology is moving, having the video-based content is feeding through with a lot of what individuals want to do and how they wish to spend their time when they're looking for a solution or looking for content to assist them with their decision or choice when it comes to solution within predictive maintenance.
Yeah, I think you got to be careful because like marketing circles, there's all these things all the time about SEO is dead and white papers are dead and blogs are dead. They're not. It's just prioritising certain content formats. And like I said, when you've got a small team, it's even more important that you focus on the things that you can do at scale and distribute in the channels. I mean, marketing is very simple when you put it like that. It's creating content that people care about and resonate with, and distributing in the right mediums and in the channels where they are. On a simple basis, that's it. But I think the other important factor in all this is, and this is not sucking up to the bosses, or maybe it is, but it's, in all seriousness, it's actually important that there's buy-in from the very top for this strategy as well, because there are, you know, when we talked about that change earlier on, there was a change from high volume MQLs or leads and big numbers, and then all of a sudden there's a big drop. So you're sort of like, you know, what's going on here, kind of thing. Why don't we, you know? And when there's external pressures on that, you know, to get results, of course there's going to be questions. But that's when you shift how you measure marketing, which is the other side of it as well. How do you measure success? And in a demand generation approach, you've got to take a different view on how you measure marketing.
So I know we've touched on different marketing channels. And I strongly believe that marketing extends further because there's other types of channels that companies tend to focus on. And I wanted to get your views on the partner side and the events marketing side. Yeah,
it's so two very wide ranging subjects. So if I start with partners first, and the reason I start with partners is because, I mean, obviously Senseye's been acquired by Siemens now, but in the period leading up to that, partners, and actually moving forward as well, partners will continue to be, for all our partners out there, appears to be very, very important to us. But in terms of a strategy, when you're an enterprise tool, it's very difficult to go into you know, the big customers we work with, you know, Fortune Global 500 customers. It's very difficult to go into that on your own and try and move your way on your own, because you can imagine they use all sorts of different systems, different, you know, sensor providers, different SCADA systems, different ERP systems, different, you know, maintenance management systems. And when you have that, you have to make sure that you play well with other software. So that's through a technical sort of integration, but also there's opportunities there for, you know, with overlapping partners, you can go to market together in a lot of cases and say, look, we've got this solution where, you know, we've got this and this. You don't need to go elsewhere to find this supply because we can actually provide them for you. And actually, one good example of that on the hardware side has been Senseye Ready, which is where Senseye's partnered with lots of different hardware, because we're up to the point of the acquisition, we were only a software company, but we built that side of it so we could offer that by working in close partnership with these companies as well. So you can see, so not only do you get to fill a gap potentially where customers need additional hardware, but you also have the opportunity to market together and leverage each other's industry knowledge, resources, do lots of joint activity. And again, if I link it back to our earlier conversation, it's about creating more content. So you can create podcasts, you create webinars. They're a great source of interview for things like the podcasts we do. Partners have been a key source of interviewing. So they've been a great source just because of their industry knowledge and all that sort of thing. So on the partner side, I think that's quite important. On the event side, I guess is where would you like to sort of dive in? Because we've got sort of exhibition side. We've got, I mean, I'd call an event.
Yeah.
What, you know, we do recurring trend detection live, for example. That's an event. So where is there any particular you'd like to focus on?
So I guess when it comes to event marketing, there's different key focuses. So there's events that companies may attend for brand awareness. There's events that companies may attend for lead generation. There's events that partners may just want to attend from a networking perspective of, you know, showcasing and getting to know people within the industry. And I guess I'm more kind of diving into the area around lead generation. So using events as a form of lead generation for us.
It's an interesting one, because events, I think there was a time when I thought, you don't need to do events because we do all this online content. It's like events are quite expensive, you know, they cost a lot of money to attend, obviously people's time and the cost of the booth and all that kind of thing. But I think, again, like I said earlier about a shift in marketing approach, I think with events you've got to take a different slant as well, in terms you don't just treat it like someone comes to your booth, you scan them and then that's it. You know, you've got a lead, but you turn it into a richer experience. So you might do, say, interviews on the stand. You might arrange to meet customers and partners and prospects even on the stand. We had a recent event in November in Liverpool where the first morning of the show, I think our colleague Nat had met, you know, maybe 2 or 3 of his customers. He'd met a prospect. We'd met new prospects and stuff. So there was a good mix of stuff. But I think the mistake for a lot of B2B SaaS companies is to go into events and purely focus on lead generation and getting the numbers, because there's a lot more. It's actually a lot of event stuff should be built around building relationships, whether it's an online virtual recurring event like Trend Detection Live or an exhibition. It should be a chance to not only, you know, promote yourselves to potential new customers, but actually a way to build better relationships with existing customers for a chance to meet in person, because that's almost priceless. It's not measurable in a HubSpot or other CRM providers available. It's not measurable in there, but actually that's a lot of where the real value from these events comes from, in my opinion.
To find out more, search Senseye Predictive Maintenance.